And day 7. Um, Today was another hard day, but I mean, I guess they all sort of are hard in their own ways. And I did tell a lie to one of my coworkers today, but she had asked me a question, and I said yes, and the answer was no. And she went to the washroom and came back, and then when she came back, I said, I really need to tell you that what you asked before, was uh, the answer was the opposite. So I had to sort of confront my own lie and confess it to the person. And they were pretty understanding because the truth wasn't malicious. The truth wasn't bad. It was just it was the ease of having someone say, "Oh, so you're going to do this," and be like, "Yes," as opposed to, "No, I'm going to do that." It was just sort of like the ease of just saying yes. And it got me thinking about how easy it is to say yes, and on the other hand, how hard it is to follow through. Um, I've spent so much of my life up until recently saying yes to almost anything just because I wanted to please the other person. You know, will you take care of this for me? Yes. Will you lend me this? Yes. And most, if not all, of these situations were to my detriment. And it was this level of agreeableness that I was talking about before that is an aspect of myself that I can't deny, but it's something that I know I need to work on, and I have been working on it. So I'm finding that this experiment of confronting my lies is making me get into uncomfortable situations. And I had gotten into a discussion with, I guess it's a Twitter friend because I've never met them in person, but I got into a discussion about love in a sense. Like when someone says, I love you, the response that they want is, I love you too. And like with my parents, it's very easy to say the words, even though I'm not really sure what exactly love is, because it is one of those words that gets used a lot, and it might not have the meaning or the intent behind it when someone says it that another person who might know exactly what it is would have. So whenever I'm confronted with that, and friends will say it all the time, and I guess in a way I do love my friends, but I think a lot, and I follow my thoughts into a place where nothing makes sense. So whenever I'm thinking, I love you, I think, what is love? What what definition do you have when you're saying it to me? And should our definitions be on par with one another if we're going to use this phrase to interact with one another? There's so many different types of love: unrequited, obsessive, and is it love to be obsessed with someone? Is it love if the person that you feel so intensely for is not interested in you in any form, and you're just sacrificing yourself on this altar to be humiliated? And I'm just wondering if lying, I feel like lying it's so easy. It's just so easy to do in certain circumstances because nobody, not nobody, but like I certainly don't like longer conversations. I would rather my interactions with people be short, and I would like them to be brief, accurate, and just succinct, and have everything just be there. I'm talking to someone that, I mean, I don't want to drone on and on and on and end up in rambles when I'm trying to get a specific point across. And it's really difficult to exercise this truthfulness in the sense of not lying at my work, because everybody is pretty much like good friends with one another. And I think it's mostly because of language, and another because I'm very introverted. And when people give me work, I will do the work. But in the sense of being in a position where I'm supposed to be in public relations, I'm very much an introvert, but I'm only an introvert when I don't know what I'm doing. And I have this distinct feeling, well, I have this knowledge that at my job, I do not know what I'm doing. I don't. I do sort of remedial tasks in a way because I haven't gotten my training yet. I'm leaving for training in March actually, but everything in my office at the moment, it runs very quickly, and everything is within this organizational framework and organizational language. And within that organizational language, or not even within it, like as the umbrella for this organizational language is French. And I'm capable of speaking French, but when you're in an office environment, there's this sort of colloquial French, and then there's the business French. So a person that only speaks in business speak won't have the same kind of dynamic as a person who speaks colloquial speak. I'm finding that I'm starting to recognize the lies that people around me at work are telling. And I had to sort of sacrifice a piece of my idea of truth regarding one specific subject today when I had to do a translation. I had to do a translation about International Women's Day. And I am not a feminist. I'm not. I don't want to be associated with this current wave of feminism. Even before third wave feminism took root, I never identified as one. That's probably because when I was a kid, I was the biggest tomboy you could possibly imagine. Like, and even in a lot of ways now, I'm kind of like, they used to call me, what do they say, like one of the guys. I was always one of the guys. And it's just like, it's just little pieces of myself. I feel like I have to sacrifice. And maybe it's not lying if it's in service of a greater cause, or in service of your company, or in service of, like your job, your livelihood. It feels like I'm lying to myself, but I'm being truthful when I say that I don't have the slightest fucking clue what I'm doing. I go to work, I sit at my desk, I do what they tell me, and I'm just like, I feel like a fungus among Martians. I just have no clue. And it just puts into stark contrast how I feel like there's things that I'm good at and there's things that I know well. I mean, I'm not the best tattoo artist in the world, but I feel like I know tattooing. I know how to do a setup. I know how to disinfect things. I know how to put in clean lines. I know how to do the basics of what it takes to be a good tattoo artist. I think I'm a good musician. I've been playing bagpipes for 18 years. Uh, And is it 18? It's going to be 18 years in September. So it was 17 years I've been playing. And I think that I'm a good piper. I'm not the best, but I think that I'm a very good piper. So now, and then I start thinking to myself, why am I doing something that I'm terrible at? If there are so many things that I'm good at, is it a motivation problem? Is that why I can't seem to succeed in the things that I'm actually good at? I mean, I can draw a little bit. I can sort of like I can do portraits. I like, looking at people's faces and just putting it down on paper. Maybe that's a skill, maybe it's not. I have no idea. But if there was a way that I could find an outlet that was a means to survive, that wasn't lying to myself on a daily basis by trying to play this part, trying to play this role. Essentially, every day at work, I am acting. And I mean, I guess acting is a form of lying. And I'm trying my best. And thank goodness for the language barrier in some ways, because if I had to engage with some of the debates that they have around lunch table in French with my opinions, I don't think that it would be looked at favorably. So, I mean, today I did tell a lie. I confronted the person that I lied to and I told them that it was a lie. So I'm going to say a rosary for that. I had a friend come and help me clean the apartment because my landlord is coming at the end of the week. I got a delivery of tattoo supplies, and it's almost like kid at Christmas every time I get supplies. I'm just like waiting to crack open that box. And then, I only have another couple of hours to eat because I have to get blood tests tomorrow for cholesterol and all that crap. I call it getting the oil checked. So that's pretty much what's going on, is just one lie with a correction directly to that person. And that was pretty much my day. I'm going to think on how to navigate my workspace without having to act, and I'm going to see where that takes me. I hope it doesn't take me to the unemployment office. Anyway, that's day 7. If you're tuning in, thanks for watching, and I enjoy comments and questions and any insights. Like, I'm happy to hear criticism as well. If there's anything that I'm doing wrong, which is probably plenty because I'm a terrible Catholic. If there's anything I'm doing wrong, let me know. And also, if there's anyone who gets offended by things I say, actually, I don't even care if they get offended by things I say. Forget that part. And if you're not watching, then you're not watching. Simples. Anyway, have a good night, folks. That's day 7. I'll see you tomorrow.